like to hand over to Richard Campbell. If you don't know the backstory, Fortnite, which is a massive game and making a lot of money, they broke the rules of the App Store and the Play Store and released their game Fortnite and said, you can buy stuff in there and not use, say, the Apple Store. And so, like all fights, this is about money. And those guys, well, both these companies make a lot of money, but nobody makes more money than Apple, the richest company in the world. And so they've gone ahead and violated the rules and predictably got in trouble. Apple always kicks people out of the store if they break the rules. And I should mention, like, you know, all these games like Fortnite, you can just play these for free, but of course a lot of people, especially kids, like to buy all these little things to make their experience better. There's also the concept, the negative concept, I guess, of pay to win. And so you can give yourself an advantage by buying all this stuff. And then Apple not only retaliated by kicking them out, just broke off the entire agreement, and so Fortnite could not release anything. Now, a lot of other developers out there on games rely on their gaming engine, and Richard will talk about that. And I just thought his summary was fantastic, and his theories are titillating. So I'll hand it over to Richard Campbell.
Hello, Adam. This is Richard Campbell coming to you from my home up on the coast in British Columbia, Canada, and was happy to get your question about what's been going on with Epic Games and Apple. So let's just dive right into it. The thing about Epic Games is they're the makers of Fortnite and a bunch of other games, but they also own the Unreal Engine, which is a 3D gaming engine used by a significant number of developers. And Epic Games had $4.2 billion in revenue in 2019 and was projecting $5 billion in 2020. And that includes the $400 million they made on Fortnite in April 2020 alone. Tim Sweeney is the CEO of Epic Games, and he's a billionaire. Fortnite made him a billionaire. And he's been spending a lot of the company money building out Epic Games and their store to try and compete with the likes of Steam. So starting back in June of 2020, Sweeney started complaining to the public and into the press at the time about how Apple and Google app stores are monopolies. And this ultimately crescendoed in August 13th this year when Epic Games added a direct payment option for Fortnite in violation of the App Store agreements. And that very same day, of course, then Apple and Google pulled Fortnite from the store. That only makes sense. They were in violation of the agreement. But also on that day, Epic then filed a lawsuit against both Apple and Google separately, declaring the monopoly. And their brief was 60 pages. So this wasn't actually something you throw together in a single day. And also on that day, they released a video, which was a play on Apple's 1984 video from the Super Bowl that introduced the Mac. So again, clearly this was a planned move by Sweeney and Epic. And Sweeney positions this entirely as a sort of fight for freedom from the app stores. Now, I point out the size of Epic because it's not exactly a tiny company. I mean, arguably Electronic Arts is bigger than them, but even they only had revenues of $5 billion in 2019. So Epic's about as big as game companies come. But of course, everything's a dwarf next to Apple, who had revenue of $265 billion in 2019, so 66 times more. And in August of 2020, hit a market capitalization of $2 trillion, making it the largest company in the world by market cap. Now, from a simple contract law perspective, Epic Games is in the wrong here. They violated the App Store agreement. But on August 17th, Apple upped the ante. They announced that the Epic Games developer account for Apple was going to be shut down on August 28th. And that didn't just affect Fortnite, but any game that Epic worked on, including the Unreal Engine. Now, the Unreal Engine is used by thousands of games on iOS. And so if Epic can't maintain the Unreal Engine and iOS makes an update that needs a patch for the Unreal Engine, all those games are going to break. So on August 23rd, Epic filed a court complaint saying that Apple was using overbroad retaliation by terminating the account. And Microsoft filed an amicus brief to the court supporting Epic's position, saying that they too had games dependent on the Unreal Engine, and this was an unreasonable response. The next day, the court responded with a temporary restraining order preventing Apple from blocking Epic's games development account. But it doesn't require them to return Fortnite to the store, but that the developer account should remain active. A few days later, on August 28th, Apple does terminate the Epic Games developer account, but only for Fortnite. So the Unreal Engine is protected. Now, on September 4th, Epic then filed an injunction to get Fortnite back into the App Store and to get the Fortnite developer account restored. Apple then countersued on September 8th for breach of contract, and then a few days later said it would not allow Epic to reapply for the App Developer program for the Fortnite account for at least a year, thereby representing potentially billions of dollars in losses for Epic Games. And the first hearing to actually deal with the complaint is going to be September 28th. But the chances that Epic Games is going to win this are virtually none. I mean, you can try and play this as a David and Goliath story, but ultimately, David's a billionaire too. These are big companies with a lot of money. And the approach that Epic took makes no sense. If you're actually looking to change things, in US law, it makes more sense to pursue a class action lawsuit. That Epic should be rounding up a bunch of other developers that depend on the App Store to go into court together to show that Apple's burden of the App Store is extreme and unreasonable, and that it should be not applied to anyone else. But that's not what Epic did. And in the end, that would have just been a long court battle, as all class action lawsuits are. But at the same time, Apple's doing their very best to seem like the bully, constantly escalating this situation. And I don't think that it's necessary. Fortnite represents the majority of the income for Epic Games. And at least half of all players play on iOS and Mac OS. So if they just left the app out of the store, within a few months, Epic really has no choice but to come back to the table. So I don't see why they're escalating. They just look bad. But that's not enough to actually win in court. And it begs the question, why? What are you hoping to achieve? Nobody needs any money here. Apple's a wealthy company. Epic's a wealthy company. The 30% doesn't make or break anything. Maybe there's other forces involved. And it occurs to me that 40% of Epic's shares are owned by Tencent. They bought them back in 2012 before the Fortnite wave or anything like that, which means the Chinese government has a significant interest in Epic Games. And when you look at what's going on with the US government and TikTok right now, it makes me wonder if this might also be supported by the Chinese government, that disrupting the darling company of the US market, Apple, by allowing them to do stupid things, essentially, and cause trouble, also impacts their business in China. And at the same time, maybe puts a little pressure on to sort of deal with the situation in TikTok. I think there's more going on than we realize here, but we don't know for sure. And I, for one, am paying close attention. Thanks so much for your question. Really great to chat with you all again. I miss you terribly. Can't wait for a chance to get back down in Australia. See ya.
All right. Well, I hope you really enjoyed that. Thank you, Richard Campbell, for that. We're very lucky that you will give us your insights into that. Put your comments down. I'd love to know if you think he's on the money or he's not.